Bigger is better in electroculture, especially when you're putting them in the ground. So I checked to see how long of a box the post office will ship. It's 108 inches, by the way, all the way around. And I launched electrofreedom.com. So all of our electroculture antennas are handmade by me with wood that is grown on my land, entirely pesticide and chemical free. I make antennas starting at 12 inches long and going all the way up to 7 feet tall. I hand cut and sand every antenna. I coat it with tung oil to help it survive the weather. And then I wrap it in copper based on your location, either clockwise or counterclockwise, and ship them on out. So right now I'm primarily working on making 12 and 18 inch antennas for seedlings, as electroculture works great for seedlings, works indoors and outdoors, anywhere that you want, anywhere that there's air, electroculture works. It really promotes growth in seedlings though. But I also have sacred geometry packages available on electrofreedom.com that include 9 large antennas, either 5 feet, 6 feet, or 7 feet, instructions on how to place them in a sacred geometry pattern, and then a consultation with me to assist in planning and placement. So it's been pretty successful. We help a lot of people. Our goal is to not break the bank, because if you're growing food, you probably don't want to waste all of your money buying electroculture antennas. And I can't blame you, especially when you can make them yourself. So we do not charge an arm and a leg for electroculture. Even though they're all handmade and handcrafted, I want everybody to be able to grow their own food.
I am a soldier in the army of my God. The Lord Jesus Christ is my commanding officer. The Holy Bible is my code of conduct. Faith, prayer, and the Word are my weapons of warfare. I have been taught by the Holy Spirit, trained by experience, tried by adversity, and tested by fire. I am a volunteer in this army. I am enlisted for eternity. I will not get out, sell out, be talked out, or pushed out. I am a soldier. I am not a baby. I do not need to be pampered, petted, primed up, pumped up, picked up, or pepped up, because I am a soldier. No one has to call me, remind me, write me, visit me, entice me, or lure me, because I am a soldier. No one has to send me flowers, gifts, food, cards, candy, or give me handouts. I do not need to be cuddled, cradled, cared for, or catered to. I am committed. I am a soldier. I cannot be discouraged enough to turn me aside. I cannot lose enough to cause me to quit. I will win. I am more than a conqueror. I will always triumph. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthen me. Devils cannot defeat me. People cannot disillusion me. Weather cannot weary me. Sickness cannot stop me. Battles cannot beat me. Money cannot buy me. Governments cannot silence me. And hell cannot handle me. I am a soldier. Even death cannot destroy me. For when my commander calls me from this battlefield, he will promote me to captain and then allow me to rule with him. I am a soldier in the army. I am marching. I am claiming victory. I will not give up. I will not turn around. I am a soldier.
It's time to resist. They can't arrest us all. And they can't keep all your kids home from school. They can't keep every government building closed. We don't have to accept the mandates, lockdowns, and harmful policies of the petty tyrants and feckless bureaucrats. We can simply say no, not again. The only way to stop these... It's time to resist. They can't arrest us all. And they can't keep all your kids home from school. They can't keep every government building closed. We don't have to accept the mandates, lockdowns, and harmful policies of the petty tyrants and feckless bureaucrats. We can simply say no, not again. The only way to stop these mandates is to refuse to comply. Refuse to show vaccine passports. Refuse to wear a mask. Refuse to stay at home. We will not comply with Fauci. We will not comply with Joe Biden. And we will not comply with authoritarian governors. I am not going to comply. This ends now.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And when you really examine the concept of eternity, one will find that there is no end. Life after death is a concept humans still don't understand.
How long is eternity? I don't understand. Some say forever, but if it's forever, then when does it come to an end? It's more than a concept, an infinite time that we spend. It confirms that our lives here on earth are a blip of existence and don't make a dent. As we get older, it creeps in our mind, the thought of the end and beginning of time. The life that we thought that we lived doesn't matter, approaching the thought that someday we all die. I get confused when I look in the sky. What is this water hitting my eyes? Maybe the rain is the pain and shame that hits earth when God cries. As we get older, we don't care what we did. It's not the things we receive, but the things we give. We try to go back to the time we were kids, but those shoes no longer fit. And then we finally realize that everyone dies, but not everyone lives. So I'm taking a chance. I'm living my life in the moment and not in a future that's not in my hands. I'm giving my time to the people who love me for everything that I am. I'm living my life in reality, not for a post that they'll tap when they open the gram. I'm doing whatever it takes. I'm not gonna dwell on my past mistakes. I'm bridging the gap between my dreams and what I see while I'm awake. They say leave it up to fate, while fate favors those who take. Cause if eternity's forever and all this is temporary, why wait? Humanity's lost. We obsess the price of material things, but at what cost? Then treat time like currency and spend it for applause, because we think that life is just a game we can turn on and off. We build, we break, renew, replace. We 9 to 5 and count the days for 40 years till 65, then live off what our pension pays. We fall in line as mental slaves. Our bodies work, our minds are caged. And that's why people say the richest place you'll find is at the graves, full of hopes and dreams that people never chased, full of feelings that we felt but never got to say. All the thoughts inside our heads that we kept stored and locked away. As our age increased and we got old and everything decayed, and when we finally realized that our whole lives was not a game, and that time was a commodity that we could not regain, and that we were in control and there was no one else to blame, is the day that we change. It's eternity, no way, no way. Eternity, no way, no way. It's eternity, no way. Eternity, no way. It's eternity, no way, no way. It's eternity, no way, no way. It's eternity, no way. Eternity, no way.
What are you doing with your time? What is your definition of happiness? Are you giving more than you're taking? And finally, if it were to all end right now, what are you holding on to that you need to let the world see?
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. How's everyone doing this morning? I'm already up and moving. I already took the dogs for a walk, for a solid 30-minute walk, nonetheless. I had a nice little run. Went to visit all of our doggy friends around the neighborhood. You know, they love those nice walks. Expecting our ducklings in today, too. So I get to finish upgrading the coop, and yeah, happiness is a warm puppy. I like it, Brian. Make a handful of antennas, plant some seeds, spend a nice quiet day outside. It's been very quiet with a sense of anticipation. So yeah, Tammy, I like that Dax song too. You know, it's funny. Not really. But each of his songs, if you listen to his songs in the order that he wrote them, they almost directly reflect the order of the messages that we've gotten in, or that we've been told. His path has been parallel to ours. We're on the same path. Maybe we just haven't met yet. Or maybe we have. I have my suspicions about who he might be. Anyway. But it has been quiet. We haven't gotten a message from Brother Matt in 8 days. That was the 28th of February. Last time I heard from Gabriel was the 28th of February. Last time I heard from Uriel, that was actually the 23rd of February. But do you know what 40 days is from the 28th of February? Anybody? I can tell you I'm not expecting to hear from them again until the eclipse, April 8th. 40 days. 40 days. From the 28th of February is April 8th. Did y'all also hear that The Jewish people are looking to sacrifice that first pure red heifer in 1,000 years, 2,000 years on the Temple Mount to cleanse the Temple Mount. You know what that brings about, right? Rebuilding of the third temple, the destruction of everything. And it'll happen fast. It'll happen very fast. You'll be amazed when it happens. The Jews are expecting Elijah to show up at Passover this year as well. Everything is falling into place. Remember, see now, there's some dispute about when they're going to actually sacrifice this pure red heifer, which came from Texas, by the way. There were initially 5. One of them developed a couple of white hairs in the last year, and so they're disqualified. But they've not been able to find a pure red heifer in thousands of years. And then 4 of them popped up in Texas and were airlifted to Jerusalem. So there's some debate about when they're going to actually sacrifice the heifer. If they're going to do it on Passover, during Passover, a little bit before Passover, right around that time. Understand that most of the Jewish people in Israel aren't even aware of this. They don't care. Very few people are aware of this. We're probably more aware of it than others. So, remember, the trumpet will sound the first time on Jesus' real birthday. A lot of people think Jesus was born in March, just before Passover. I think that's probably right. Personally, I think the Jews are waiting for the trumpet to sound the first time, for the veil to part the first time, for them to start to sacrifice that red heifer. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But since there are no messages, I figured I'd bring up an older one because they're all still relevant. They started warning us a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And those warnings have gotten more urgent and more meaningful over time. So, this is from July 1st of 2023, called The Great Awakening. We often speak of the Great Awakening, but does anyone really know what that means? The day of awakening is almost upon us. Mick has been torn in his religion of late. Not his faith, but his religion. He's been a devout Catholic for all of his life, but he's recently awakened to the knowledge that religions don't really matter. Faith matters. Religion is a constraint put upon us by man. Faith is knowing God. It's difficult to break free of our chains, but once you do, you are truly free. Jamaica has been an eye-opening experience for both of us on all 3 levels, mind, body, and spirit. But it's truly the people that make this island a little slice of heaven. The Jamaican people live with God in their lives every day. They put him first, always, in good times and bad. They don't treat God like an item they can discard or pack away until they need him, like an occasional convenience. Their faith is unshakable, ingrained in every fiber of their being, regardless of their religion. Gabriel told me tonight that Christianity doesn't exist in the United States anymore. And he's right. We have lost our faith as a people. We packed it away in a box and forgot where we put it, and then threw it away like old trash. We need to find it. We need to beg, plead, pray, invite, and welcome God back into our lives as the head of our collective household. We are one people, one race, one love, with God all around us. Ignore him at your peril. Trifle with him at your peril. Deny him at your peril. Gabriel also told me that the day of awakening will soon be upon us. There has been no prevarication from him in this place. His words are clear, prophetic, with an undertone of urgency I've not heard from him before. He told me that one day, very soon, we will all know that God is real, that all mankind will see. There will be no more room for doubt, and the lines will be drawn. When that day comes, That is the day of awakening, the day of knowing. When that day comes, do not fear. Do you know which side of that line you'll be on? God has you every day, but you must put him first in your life. Your survival depends on your faith, on your ability to believe. Do not lose hope. Keep pushing forward. Hope is forward. Despair is behind you. There is no end. Don't look back. Walk with God, and we will all come through this together as one people, in one love, as we were always supposed to be. Again, that was from almost a year ago. The message hasn't changed. It's just gotten more urgent. Life of Brian says, why do people feel they always have to kill things to celebrate stuff? I'm not killing anything. Never got that. Death? Nah, bear. Well, think about what we've read in the Bible so far, Brian. God instructed his people to sacrifice life and to offer it up as a burnt offering, to cook it and feed it to him. Do you eat meat, Brian? Perhaps, and I'm just spitballing here, but perhaps sacrificing an animal for us to eat or to give to God is to make us appreciate life more. Too many people think food comes from the grocery store. They're like, get rid of the cows. Cows fart methane. Can I have a hamburger? They don't know where that comes from. Things give their lives for you every single day so that you can survive. We don't appreciate that anymore. Maybe that was the reason for God's very strict procedures around sacrifice. The American Indians did it too, to a different degree, but they have their own ritual. They have their own thanksgiving, appreciation, gratitude for the life that was given to sustain theirs. You know, even when I lost the ducks and the chickens over the last week, and someone said to me, I didn't realize how heavily you'd been attacked. I've talked about this. But yeah, you have to look at it differently. I lost chickens, 2 chickens, one of my favorites too, my pet chicken, and 3 ducks. And I love the ducks. I mean, the ducks are great. And their loss was heartbreaking for me. But they didn't go to waste. I've lost animals before, ducks and chickens. I got killed by a dog. And one of my chickens, I got killed by a dog. I buried her in my garden. So she didn't go to waste. She helped feed the food that we now eat. But some of the other chickens, they just went in the trash. So even though I've lost these chickens, these ducks, the coons, as much as I hate them, got to eat. And I don't hate them. I actually like coons. I just don't like them when they're attacking my animals. But I understand. It's spring. They just had a whole litter of babies, little baby coons that they need to feed. And they're hungry. They've been scavenging for a couple months. I mean, we have the benefit of living in the South, so we never really get a good winter. But everything needs to eat. So while I mourn the loss of my animals, I understand that they didn't go to waste. They fed something else. And at the same time, I'm highly anticipating my 6 ducks coming in today. 6 ducklings, new life in our flock. They're so much fun. I spent yesterday securing the duck enclosure inside the chicken prison to keep them safe. I can only keep them safe for so long because eventually they'll go in the pond and they won't want to come home and the gators will go after them and life in nature happens. But for a little while, I can keep them safe and love on them, try and bond to them. Life, death, and the kingdom. When you weigh everything against the scales of life, death, and the kingdom, you come to true understanding. I understand that more every day. That was told to me over a year ago, and yet I'm only starting to really gain understanding. I thought I understood before, but experience makes the difference. So, that being said, I hope you guys are ready because the next 28 days, it's going to be a hell of a ride. And it's not going to get any slower, quieter. Actually, I think now until April 8th is probably going to be the quietest time period that we've experienced or that we will experience in a long time. This is truly our time of preparation. Get ready for what's coming because once it comes, there's no stopping it. So, anyway, before we get going, let's pray. Dear God, thank you for giving us the strength and energy to do everything we need to do to prepare for your return, which gets closer every day. Thank you for sending us your messengers. Thank you for giving us ears to hear your words, eyes to see your signs, the understanding to comprehend both of those things, the discernment to be able to sift the lies from the truth, the courage to speak that truth to everyone we meet. Thank you, God. Thank you for our animals whose very nature teaches us about unconditional love and loyalty and faith every single day. Thank you. Thank you for my husband, my rock. I could not do this without him. I would not be here without him. Thank you for our children, their curiosity and love for life. Remind us of what we're doing, why we're doing it. Thank you for all of our friends and family, the ones that have been with us since the beginning, the ones we met along the way, the ones we have yet to meet on our path. We ask God that you please soften their hearts and keep them safe and enable us to pull them from the thorny bushes on the side of the path and set them solidly on their own rock of faith as we are on ours. Most of all, God, thank you for life every single day. And it's a beautiful day out there today. Thank you for life. So, Slopsky says there's also a comet coming too. Yes. You know what they say, go big or go home. And this is going to be big, big, big. So, again, I hope you guys are ready. Sorry, I'm cold. I got my blood all heated up walking the dogs for a solid 35 minutes. And now sitting down and being quiet, I'm cold. So we are in the book of the prophet Isaiah, telling us what's to come our way. I hope you all have caught that, because it is coming our way, and fast. Okay. And we are at chapter 15 of the book of the prophet Isaiah. And good morning, everyone. Pian, Sven, Life of Brian, John, Liana, Lindsay, Slavsky, Polka Dot. Good morning, everyone. And anyone else I missed. Got a handful of people watching over on X. How y'all? And a bunch more on Rumble that haven't popped in on the chats. Morning, Ellsworth. Okay. Chapter 15. The burden of Moab, because in the night Ar of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence, because in the night Kir of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence. He has gone up to Bajith and to Dibon, the high places, to weep. Moab shall howl over Nebo and over Medeba. On all their heads shall be baldness, and every beard cut off. In their streets they shall gird themselves with sackcloth. On the tops of their houses and in their streets everyone shall howl, weeping abundantly. And Heshbon shall cry, and Eliah, their voice shall be heard even unto Jahaz. Therefore the armed soldiers of Moab shall cry out. His life shall be grievous unto him. My heart shall cry out for Moab. His fugitives shall flee unto Zoar, and heifer of 3 years old. For by the mounting up of Luhith with weeping shall they go it up. For in the way of Haranim they shall raise up a cry of destruction. For the waters of Nimrin shall be desolate. For the hay is withered away, the grass faileth, there is no green thing. Therefore the abundance they have gotten, and that which they have laid up, shall they carry away to the brook of the willows. For the cry is gone round about the borders of Moab, the howling thereof unto Eglaim, and the howling thereof unto Beer Elim. For the waters of Dimon shall be full of blood. For I will bring more upon Dimon, lions upon him that escapeth of Moab, and upon the remnant of the land. Chapter 16. Send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land from Selah to the wilderness, unto the mount of the daughter of Zion. For it shall be that, as a wandering bird cast out of the nest, so the daughters of Moab shall be at the fords of Arnon. Take counsel, execute judgment, make thy shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday. Hide the outcast, betray not him that wandereth. Let mine outcasts dwell with thee, Moab. Be thou a covert to them from the face of the spoiler. For the extortioner is at an end, the spoiler ceaseth, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment and hasting righteousness. We have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath, but his lies shall not be so. Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab, everyone shall howl. For the foundations of Kir Hareseth shall ye mourn. Surely they are stricken. For the fields of Heshbon languish, and the vine of Sibmah, the lords of the heaven have broken down the principal plants thereof. They are come even unto Jezer. They wandered through the wilderness. Her branches are stretched out. They are gone over the sea. Therefore I will bewail with the weeping of Jazer, the vine of Sibmah. I will water thee with my tears, O Heshbon and Eliah, for the shouting of thy summer fruits and for thy harvest is fallen. And gladness is taken away, and joy out of the plentiful field. And in the vineyards there shall be no singing, neither shall there be shouting. The treaders shall tread out no wine in their presses. I have made their vintage shouting to cease. Wherefore my bowels shall sound like an harp for Moab, and mine inward parts for Ker Haresh. And it shall come to pass, when it is seen that Moab is weary on the high place, that he shall come to his sanctuary to pray, but he shall not prevail. This is the word that the Lord hath spoken concerning Moab since that time. But now the Lord hath spoken, saying, within 3 years, as the years of an hireling, and the glory of Moab shall be contempted with all that great multitude, and the remnant shall be very small and feeble. Chapter 17. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. The cities of Aurora are forsaken. They shall be for flocks which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. The fortress shall also cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. And in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean. And it shall be as when the harvestman gathereth the corn and reapeth the ears with his arm. And it shall be as he that gathereth ears in the valley of Rephaim. Yet gleaming grapes shall be left in it, as the shaking of an olive tree, 2 or 3 berries in the top of the uppermost bough, 4 or 5 in the outermost fruit branches thereof, saith the Lord God of Israel. At that day shall a man look to his Maker, and his eyes shall have respect to the Holy One of Israel. And he shall not look to the altars, to the work of his hands, neither shall respect that which his fingers have made, either the groves or the images. In that day shall his strong cities be as a forsaken bough, and the uppermost branch, which they left because of the children of Israel. And there shall be desolation, because thou hast forgotten the God of thy salvation, and hast not been mindful of the rock of thy strength. Therefore shalt thou plant pleasant plants, and shalt set it with strange slips. In the day shalt thou make thy plant to grow, and in the morning shalt thou make thy seed to flourish. But the harvest shall be a heap in the day of grief and of desperate sorrow. Woe to the multitude of many people, which make a noise like the noise of the seas, and to the rushing of nations, that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters. But God shall rebuke them, and they shall flee far off, and shall be chased as the chaff of the mountains before the wind, like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. And behold, at evening tide trouble, and before the morning he is not. This is the portion of them that spoil us, and the lot of them that rob us. Chapter 18. Slopsky, those baby raccoons are really freaking cute, by the way. Chapter 18. Woe to the land shadowing with wings, which is beyond the river of Ethiopia, that sendeth ambassadors by the sea, even in vessels of bulrushes upon the waters, saying, Go, ye swift messengers, to a nation scattered and peeled, to a people terrible from their beginning hitherto, a nation meted out and trodden down, whose land the rivers have spoiled. All ye inhabitants of the world and dwellers on the earth, see ye, when he lifteth up an ensign on the mountains, and when he bloweth a trumpet, hear ye. For so the Lord said unto me, I will take my rest, and I will consider in my dwelling place like a clear heat upon herbs, and like a cloud of dew in the heat of the harvest. For afore the harvest, when the bud is perfect, and the sour grape is ripening in the flower, he shall both cut off the sprigs with pruning hooks, and take away and cut down the branches. They shall be left together unto the fowls of the mountains and to the beasts of the earth, and the fowls shall summer upon them, and all the beasts of the earth shall winter upon them. In that time shall the present be brought unto the Lord of hosts as of a people scattered and peeled, and from a people terrible from their beginning hitherto, a nation meted out and trodden under foot, whose land the rivers have spoiled, to the places of the name of the Lord of hosts, the Mount Zion. Chapter 19. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up. And they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of defense shall be emptied and dried up. The reeds and flags shall wither. The paper reeds by the brooks, and the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks shall wither, be driven away, and be no more. The fishers also shall mourn, and all that they cast angle into the brook shall lament, and they that spread nets upon the waters shall languish. Moreover, they that work in fine flax, and they that weave networks shall be confounded. And they that shall be broken in the purposes thereof, all that make sluices and ponds for fish. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish. How say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts hath proposed upon Egypt. The princes of Zoan are become fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Every one that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself, because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he hath determined against it. In that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan and swear to the Lord of hosts. One shall be called the city of destruction. In that day shall there be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. For they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them. And the Lord shall be known to Egypt, and the Egyptians shall know the Lord in that day, and shall do sacrifice and oblation. Yea, they shall vow a vow unto the Lord and perform it. And the Lord shall smite Egypt. He shall smite and heal it. and they shall return even to the Lord, and he shall be entreated of them and shall heal them. In that day shall there be a highway out of Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrian shall come into Egypt, and the Egyptian into Assyria, and the Egyptians shall serve with the Assyrians. In that day shall Israel be the third with Egypt and with Assyria, even a blessing in the midst of the land, whom the Lord of hosts shall bless, saying, Blessed be Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, mine inheritance. Chapter 20. In the year that Tartan came unto Ashdod, when Sargon, the king of Assyria, sent him, and fought against Ashdod, and took it. At the same time spake the Lord by Isaiah the son of Amoz, saying, Go and loose the sackcloth from off thy loins, and put off thy shoe from thy foot. And he did so, walking naked and barefoot. And the Lord said, Like as my servant Isaiah hath walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign and wonder upon Egypt and upon Ethiopia, so shall the king of Assyria lead away the Egyptian prisoners and the Ethiopian captives, young and old, naked and barefoot, even with their buttocks uncovered, to the shame of Egypt. And they shall be afraid and ashamed of Ethiopia, their expectation, and of Egypt, their glory. And the inhabitant of this isle shall say in that day, Behold, such is our expectation, whither we flee for help to be delivered from the king of Assyria. And how shall we escape? Chapter 21. The burden of the desert of the sea. As whirlwinds in the south pass through, so it cometh from the desert, from a terrible land. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media. All the sighing thereof have I made to cease. Therefore are my loins filled with pain. Pangs have taken hold upon me, as the pangs of a woman that travaileth. I was bowed down at the hearing of it. I was dismayed at the seeing of it. My heart panted. Fearfulness affrighted me. The night of my pleasure hath he turned into fear unto me. Prepare the table. Watch in the watchtower. Eat, drink. Arise, ye princes, and anoint the shield. For thus hath the Lord said unto me, Go, set a watchman. Let him declare what he seeth. And he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen, a chariot of asses, and a chariot of camels. And he hearkened diligently with much heed. And he cried, A lion! My Lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. And behold, here cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and all the graven images of her gods he hath broken onto the ground. O my threshing and the corn of my floor, that which I have heard of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you. The burden of Duma, he calleth to me out of Seir, Watchman, what of the night? Watchman, what of the night? The watchman said, The morning cometh, and also the night. If ye will inquire, inquire ye. Return, come. The burden upon Arabia. In the forest in Arabia shall ye lodge, O ye traveling companions of Dedanim. The inhabitants of the land of Tema brought water to him that was thirsty. They prevented with their bread him that fled. For they fled from the swords, from the drawn sword, and from the bent bow, and from the grievousness of war. For thus hath the Lord said unto me, within a year, according to the years of an hireling, and all the glory of Kedar shall fail. And the residue of the number of archers, the mighty men of the children of Kedar, shall be diminished, for the Lord God of Israel hath spoken it. think I'm going to finish up there today at the end of chapter 21 at the book of the prophet Isaiah. We will pick up with chapter 22 tomorrow. And again, there is nothing new under the sun. The judgment that is about to be bestowed on us has been bestowed on people before us. And what has happened before will happen again. And what we are reading about right now literally details what's going to happen. So, this is the time of our last minute preparations. Be ready in mind and body and spirit. Because I believe that the Lord will return before my next harvest, before our next harvest. So, anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful, blessed day, and that God keeps you safe in the shadow of his wing until he returns for us, which is very soon. Liana's coming up next, both on her channels and on our channels. So I hope that you go watch on her channels. Yes, good work, girl. That's exactly right. Even his judgments are an act of love. That's what I've been trying to tell y'all. Everything comes from God, good and bad. Everything comes from God. Tough love is a thing, and God is a master of it. If you are tested, ask why. Ask yourself why. What can you learn from it? Do not despair. Find the lesson and learn from it. You can't appreciate the good without the bad. You can't truly know love unless you know despair. You won't recognize joy unless you've felt heartbreak. There must be balance. We are out of balance right now, and God's judgment will put us back in balance. So, anyway, Liana is coming up next, both on her channels and on our channels, the Liana L. Wilbert Show. Go check her out, Rumble and Pilled.net. If you're watching someplace other than Rumble or Pilled.net, then you can continue watching on this channel. She will be coming up at 9:05. Pretty much as soon as my outro song is done, then she'll be on right afterwards. So come check it out. 6 or 7 hours of news, anger, memes, music, all kinds of fun stuff. She puts on a great show. Mick and I will be back tonight, 5:45 for the pre-show, which is 15 minutes of music, 6 p.m. for the start of the regular show. The Patriot Party podcast intro is even longer than the Good Book intro, so keep that in mind. If you're not in by 6:15, you're missing out on content. We will be having an exceptionally long show tonight, as we will be covering the State of the Union. Hopefully we can stay up as late as Joe can. We'll see. So, long show tonight, so keep that in mind. And I'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9 a.m. for the Good Book. So, God bless you all. I pray for all of you every single day. Thanks for watching. And I will see you on the flip side. Have a great one, y'all.
Getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate. separate and segregate. Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate the values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate. Marching on these streets of blood till I see the golden gates. Troubadour and troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpent.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
I know the truth is hard to swallow, just digest it. Suspected something's going on, but chose to just neglect it. Deflected by some breaking news, oh, we just accept it. Expected just to fall in line and follow their perspective. Don't question their objective, but I got a lot of questions. How these kids molested, but nobody's been arrested. Read it in the testament, these children are protected. So I'm fighting all these terrorists, both foreign and domestic. Refuse to be directed, lion not a sheep. Only kneel to my God, so I'm dying on my feet. Silence when we speak, but there's violence in the street. I've been rolling with the punches, I can't take it on the cheek. Drink from a glass half full, I'm optimistic. People are sadistic, so vicious and malicious. Praying for assistance to overcome opposition, or I'm gonna start resisting and then I'll pray for forgiveness.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now. We need you now. We need you now. One day, one day, one day. One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you